Fab Fashionistas, and welcome to the Fab Lab, where we are all about fashion and the art of beauty. I am Stephanie J.
And I'm Liz Everett.
Liz, I know you've been on set this week. How has everything been?
Everything is good. Stress to the max, honestly, because I don't think people realize how much research there is. For instance, like I'm the costume director for Paperline, and upcoming independent film. So it's lots of research on different garments to find and putting together several marketing I almost said photographies, but I meant like photo shoots. So I'm doing lots of creative direction research and art direction research. So it's cuckoo crazy banana crackers. You know, that's one of my favorite lines. But I know you've been out in LA doing the thing at the Women in Billboard Music Awards. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, I was out there. I'm interning underneath celebrity stylist Tiffany Gifford, and I had the opportunity to go out and work with her and her assistant, getting one of her clients ready for the Billboard Women in Music event at the SoFi Stadium, which they just had the Super Bowl at. I didn't realize that's where it was at, but it was a really cool event. We even got invited to it, but we didn't go because we had other things we had to get ready. It was a great week. I'd never been to LA, as you know, and I definitely feel like California calling my name. I could be a Cali girl. I mean, there's not much different between a Florida girl and a Cali girl, so I think I could be a Cali girl. I loved it. And it was a lot of fun, and it was a lot of work, but definitely worth it to get out there and see what the Cali vibe was like.
Well, speaking of work, this is our Boss Babe episode. We are celebrating all things Boss Babe. We just had International Women's Day. It's Women's History Month, darling. We're just doing the thing. And, we're all making some pretty Boss Babe moves. We have such a great show for you guys. We're doing our industry insider interview with Shireen Pimentel, who, honey, is taking us from the red carpet to the Broadway stage. Because, we like to be from the headlines to the hemlines right here, front row to the fashion show. Steph, what's your package going to be?
We are talking about Boss Babe influencers that you want to follow on Instagram right now. We want to make sure that we're out there and we're supporting women of all ages, skin colors, and ethnicities.
That's so right. And hey, below in the comments, drop us one of your favorite Boss Babe photos that you love to post online, or one of your favorite Boss Babe comments.
Yes, we can't wait for you to join us and see what we've got in store for you coming up next on the Fab Lab, where we are all about fashion and the art of beauty. Hi, Fab Fashionistas. I am Stephanie J.
And I'm Liz Everett.
And we are live on the Fab Lab, where we are all about fashion and the art of beauty. And we are here with our Fab Lab analysts, because we're going to go from the headlines to the hemlines. And we have joining us tonight, Kennedy Garcia, author, coach, and international Mrs. Reigning Beauty. Kennedy, give the people a word.
Hey, everybody. I'm so excited to be here with you today. I cannot wait to dive into these topics. And so thanks for joining us.
And we also have Cheryl Pullins, iconic brand strategist and fashion enthusiast, and also the Fab Lab veteran at this point. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. I'm excited to be here again. And just like Kennedy, I can't wait to talk about these juicy topics.
Well, without further ado, let's get into it, Liz.
Well, this morning we are going to begin with Valentino's pink outs. I mean, personally, I've always loved Chaparelli pink, aka fuchsia, aka Pantone. But this, my darlings, this pink out, it gave me cinched, it gave me sequined, and it gave me sheer. You know? So Cheryl, how you feeling? Were you into the pink out?
Listen, I don't even like pink, but you see, I have it on, right? I'm not big on pink. I never really been on pink, but let me tell you how I fell in love with that Valentino pink PP, I guess is what they're calling it. I absolutely fell in love with it. And the reason I fell in love with it is because it gave you one shade in so many different textures and so many different structures. I mean, just from the feminine to the really masculine, from the flowy to the tailored to I was loving all of it. I really, really, really got into that pink. Yeah, that'll probably be the only time though.
I agree. This pink was everything. I can't say that I ever thought you could come up with so many different shapes and silhouettes within the same Pantone. So it's really cool that the creative director was able to collaborate with Pantone to come up with his own color. So creative. I tried to mimic it in my lips tonight so I could be on trend. Kennedy, how are you feeling about it? Was this a go for you?
This was everything and a bag of chips for me because unlike some of you, I happen to love the color pink. And so when I see it used in excess, I am super excited. It meant everything. I saw pink, 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 pink everywhere. And I was like, yes, I'm so here for it. I'm here for everything. I'm here for the shoulder pads and the structure that came down. I'm here for the flowy pants that sort of glided down that runway. Like it is all about the pink. And I was excited for it.
Well, if we're honest, the four of us are some pretty sparkly girls. So we're really here for anything that's girly, fabulous, and a little bit too ruffled. But I digress. So next, we're talking about the really great fashion brands that are getting into International Women's Day. We're celebrating Women's History Month. I mean, this really is kind of our Boss Babe episode, if you will. My favorite was Fossil. I'm all about those watches. But Steph, tell us more about this subject.
Basically, in this article, they discussed 12 different brands that are celebrating International Women's Day. And they ranged in from high end, Net-a-Porter collaborated with a handful of luxury designers, Stella McCartney, Gabriella Hearst, Isabel Marant. So the list was very long just for this one brand. But like you said, went into Fossil and other stories. They include, what I really liked is they included a handful of the other creative arts. So you had self-portraits, you had t-shirts. Now I'm all about a t-shirt. So you had me sold at the Net-a-Porter. Okay. Jimmy Choo did Choose Women, like CHOOS women. What? Now that was so creative. I wish I could think of witty things like that. It was so awesome. Cheryl, how did you feel? Which one was your favorite?
I have to admit that Choose Women got me. I am all about the spin, and being able to use your brand to create that kind of spin, positive spin. So that really was my favorite. But here was my wish. I'm like, I would love to see this done more year round, not just for International Women's Month, but to really showcase the incredibleness, the amazingness of the contribution that women have made to this world in every industry, on every level. It's like a month just doesn't do it. I would love to see future collaborations year round to really showcase women, their contribution, and for brands to really stand up and support women in the way that they really should.
I agree with that 1,000%. I think when you start to look at women and how much money we spend in the fashion industry, I think they owe it to us to put us first and make us the forefront of every single campaign and every single product, and everything that they do should be catered around their consumer. Really, I mean, that's just smart strategy, right? So, and I know we're not going to get into the business side of it, but the fashion side of it, honey, I was here for the t-shirt. The Choose women just took me to a whole different place. And I was like, yes, come on. I am a Jimmy Choo fan though. So I was like, okay, Jimmy, gonna give me something I can use, boo. I need that in my closet, and I'm ordering one. And so I loved all of the designs that they came up with, and every single fashion house that got behind International Women's Month. I really, really appreciated that. And I, like you, hope that they do something all year round.
I love that. I think both of you are so right on that. I agree with all of you on the Choose women. It's just, I mean, it's giving, it's giving. Next, we're going to talk about Louis Vuitton's museum show that drew like an epic Hollywood crowd, including its cover girl, who was in one of my favorite movies ever, Cruella, that I watched over and over. Did I say over and over and over again? I might have seen it 3 or 4 times. I just loved the fashion, like period and point blank. So Seth, give us a little bit more insight on it, and then let's talk fashion, honey.
Apparently, I must be the only one on the panel that has not seen Cruella. I need to get on it. Apparently, I know. Don't judge me, okay? Just haven't gotten there yet. But yeah, this show drew a handful of A-list celebrities. Emma Stone, she is one of their brand ambassadors, and she was discussing, how Cruella is a fashion designer, and it's not only what she's wearing, but what she's designing. So that lent to her being a brand ambassador for Louis Vuitton. We had Sophie Turner and Joe Jonas on the front row. We had Gemma Chan and Emma Mackey, just to name a few. So it was a star-studded event. Cheryl, thoughts?
Well, what I liked about this particular event, it was like the gathering of Hollywood elite. And it speaks a lot to the Louis Vuitton brand and how it is the Hollywood elite that have really, really, really kind of positioned that brand where it is. So, and the interesting thing in terms of, the story, there were all these, A-list celebrities there, but it was all about the projects they were working on. So of course you had Emma Stone there, even though she's done Cruella. Well, they're working on the next one, and so everybody was there kind of talking about their projects that they're working on. So it was like a reunion almost, I gather, showing up at this high-end, a fashion show, for this Louis Vuitton brand, and all of these amazing celebrity A-list celebs were there to show their support. I mean, a brand like that could ask for nothing more. Nothing more, because that's some really pretty awesome support.
Listen, honey, I need to call my agent because I want to know why I wasn't there. Did any of y'all get the invite? What happened to my invite is what I want to know. I got some projects I could have sat there and talked about. I mean, maybe they're not, being shot at Warner Brothers Studio, but I got projects. So I just could not even believe some of the fashion. So here's what I love most about Louis Vuitton. I do love that it's elite and it's exclusive, right? I think that all makes us feel more luxurious when we're talking about fashion. But here's what I love most. What I love is the freedom that they design with. And when I think about Louis Vuitton and these huge shows that they do that are star-studded, I think back to when Jaden Smith had the Louis Vuitton campaign with the skirt and it was just so free, right? It was like, be free to be exactly who you are. And we're going to design to who you are, not take who you are and stuff it into our design. And so I so appreciate that about Louis Vuitton. And they did not disappoint in this museum and in this event. They did the exact same thing. And everybody showed up in Louis Vuitton looking absolutely amazing. And I cannot understand why you have not seen Cruella yet, but that's a whole nother topic that I'm sure we'll get to offline.
Believe me, by the end of next week, she will have seen it for sure, Kennedy. Thank you so much. We'll have a watch party of some kind.
Get on that, Steph.
Well, Kith also is launching an Aaliyah collection for International Women's Day. And I am really excited about this. They partnered with the Aaliyah estate and photographer Robert Whitman. They brought some of her phraseologies to the forefront, right? Baby girl, let me know. Age ain't nothing but a number. I have questions about that one, but we're going to leave that alone. That's for a different show. It's for a different show. Okay. A different show. Talk about that later. But I'm really excited about it. And, one of the things I do feel like we keep talking about and here is we keep bringing up branding, during this show. And Kennedy, you and Cheryl both are really well versed in branding. And I believe that you really see how iconic Aaliyah's brand is through these partnerships. There are women like Coco Chanel, Aaliyah, blah, 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 who really are just shining, and their legacy continues to shine in this space. Cheryl, speak to us just a little bit on like why Aaliyah's brand keeps popping up for us.
Well, when I think about Aaliyah, I think who she would have been had she still been here. And the person that comes to mind when I think of who she would have been Rihanna. She would have been the forerunner for Rihanna. I mean, to me, the energetically, they're very similar. I think, they may have had the same kind of outlook with fashion, the influence. Aaliyah had the music, but she had the influence. She has her personality. There were so many facets of her that left an indelible mark. And it was as quick as she arrived is just how quick she left. And I think people honor who she was for the time she was here. And that's what's created her legacy. For me, I believe personal brand is about legacy. It is about leaving your legacy. And she has really done that. When Mac did the collection, the Aaliyah collection, I went out and I bought it all. Wait a minute. And I barely even wear the lipstick, but I bought it because it was such an honor and a tribute to the woman she was becoming. And she really was the epitome of becoming iconic. And in that, she became iconic.
Girl, give us brand church, okay? Like, take us to brand church. Hallelujah, we feel it. Okay, we into it. Kennedy, are you an Aaliyah fan, and are you buying one of these Kith t-shirts? Not the age ain't nothing but a number one.
Not the age ain't nothing but a number. So we're gonna leave that one alone, and we're gonna go to that one on a different show. But I will be buying the one that will make everybody sing when they see it. Because when you see this t-shirt, it's just going to make you want to say, let me know. Everyone's going to want to do that when they see this t-shirt, okay? It is just what happens when the song comes on. The entire room sings this song, and they're going to be excited and here for these t-shirts. Kith is amazing in the partnerships and collaborations that they come up with. My son, Shane, who is a car enthusiast and a YouTuber, he is huge into BMWs and modifications and all the rest of that. And Kith partnered with BMW and brought this just an amazing design around these M3s, and it's created this buzz. And so Kith is really smart about how they collaborate and what they put out there and the designs that they push out into the market. And so I'm really, really, really excited for this. I'm glad that Aaliyah's estate agreed to do this. I think, you know, when you talk about brand, she has an amazing brand, and most of that happened post-mortem, right? And that says a lot about who you are when you're here, that you are bigger when you're gone than you were. And I think you're absolutely right that we always tend to think about, well, where would she have been if her life wasn't cut so short? And I agree, she would have been iconic. And she is iconic, right? And so, huge Aaliyah fan. I remember where I was on that day. I will never forget it. And she has been missed in the hearts of the people who listened to her music, loved her videos, still try to do rock the boat routine, knowing that we don't get it right. But we will be rocking the shirt.
Well, here's my question, right? Because I used to work at John Bartram High School in Philly, right? And there were a handful of famous people who attended that school. But if you took a cross-section like poll of the kids at school, most of them didn't know who any of them were. They were, you know, a handful of famous athletes. DJ Jazzy Jeff went to school there. Like, that was their huge claim to fame. Like, I know who DJ Jazzy Jeff is, but like, your 16-year-old, and I guess that's maybe not the purpose. The purpose is for them to collect money for the school. But like, my question, just the thoughts that ramble through my head. Do these girls know who she is? I hope they do.
We're moving on, because otherwise we're not going to be friends anymore. I just want to be clear. We're going to move on.
But Stephanie, I think, you know, you kind of slid into the comment a little bit, and I could just say, they don't need to know who she is. They don't have to know who she is. They're the benefactor of her and her work in the world. And that's the purpose. You know, I mean, they're the benefactor of it, you know, maybe, you know, and of course it depends on, you know, what your household was like. Because, you know, my kids know music from the 80s and they were born in the 90s. So, you know, so it can vary. But I really think that them being the benefactor of this, it benefits them. So they can go read a book and find out who she is.
So true. Girls, honey, I'm just hot, heated. You know what I'm talking about? Like, my God, got a long FaceTime after this stuff. Okay, now our next topic is, I went from basic to flamboyant overnight. And I love this. I mean, you know, this is something that we believe all the time, which is that fashion can be fabulous and people can be fabulous at every single age. So Steph, give us a little more insight on this topic and this article, because you guys, I want to print this article out and just post it on my wall.
Basically, it talks about how styles evolve as we move through life. And this is really just a cross-section of women who let their style evolve and be what it was going to be. They got into their 40s, 50s, and 60s and just decided that they were going to go for it. Some of them, they weren't going to worry about gender. They weren't going to worry about what the world said about how they should dress. If they liked it, they wore it, which has always been my motto. So I love this. And one of the reasons that I chose this is because, unfortunately, I'm not getting any younger, so I need to continue to get more fabulous, right? So the age doesn't like show. So the more fabulous that I am, no one will ever guess that I'm gonna be like 40. Ew, don't like it. Cheryl,
40 is a bad you know what, Steph?
It's not a bad number. It's just as you approach it, like,
we're gonna need an intervention.
I've just offended all of the folks tonight. I'm not a fan of Aaliyah, and I called being 40 bad. I've offended everyone. Sorry, guys. If you're 40.
I do think that age has a lot to do with going from basic to flamboyant. So I'll give you that part, because I think as you mature and you get older, you stop caring about what other people think. That's number one. You start living more for yourself and in the moment, right? But I also think that you start to break through these barriers that you see in front of you when you're younger. And so my younger self I don't know if y'all know this, but I have an inner Carrie Bradshaw, right? I have an inner, I got an inner Cyndi Lauper. Like I got a whole lot going on here from a fashion perspective, right? But I've always had an executive role in corporate America that says you cannot show up to work looking like Carrie Bradshaw. There is a problem with that if you want to sit in this boardroom and be taken seriously. And so I've downplayed my inner Carrie for a while, right? Because of the barriers that people put in front of me or the box that people put you in. I think as you get older, and the part that I loved was, and I am not going to say her name right in the article, but I think it was Najate. She was 69 years old. And her byline was, be proud of who you are. But it took her to get 69 years on this earth before she actually got to that space, right? And so going from basic to flamboyant, I mean, I would never consider myself to ever have been basic, but I've gone from great to greater. How about that? And
well, you do wear bright lipstick now.
I think I have you to thank for that. Mm-hmm.
Cheryl, what are your thoughts on this? I know this is something that we bring into your brand all the time, which is that thought process of ageless, timeless beauty, but also just going for it.
Yes. Yeah. You know, being that I am the older of everyone here, I know for sure. That particular story really resonated with me from the standpoint of, you know, as you get older, you do start to go, I don't give a flying flip about what people think about what I'm wearing. You know, so what? You know, I wear, and you know, Liz, you know very well that I love pattern mixing, and that's something I never would have done 20 years ago. I would, you know, Kennedy, like you, I spent more than 20 years in the corporate space, you know, and it was black, navy blue, tan, and gray. That was it. That was the corporate uniform. And you had one ring, and you had a pair of pearl earrings and a pearl necklace. You know, but now I feel such freedom on multiple levels of being able to wear whatever I feel like wearing. I went to my mom's house one day, and I had on, I think, flower something. I don't know. I had mixed up patterns. She was like, oh, that's cute. And I'm not sure if that's really what she wanted to say, but she said, oh, that's cute, you know. And I was trying to figure it out, but I'm, you know, my mom and I were only like 18 years apart, so, you know. But there's a freedom that I feel now that I didn't feel before. And the story that I really liked was the story of the man that got rid of his trousers and start wearing kilts. That was the coolest.
I loved that. I really did.
That is real, true freedom.
Yeah. Well, and I really think that fashion right now is so free as well. So I'm just excited about what we're going to be experiencing and the freedom that we're going to have and the things that we're going to be able to come up with over the next couple of years, because that's, you know, being free and fabulous is in style. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Again, we have Kennedy Garcia, who is an author, a coach, and an international title holder. We have Cheryl Pullins, iconic brand strategist, who will get your personal brand together, honey. Yes, she will. And we are so happy that you guys have joined us. And in the comments, you guys, tell us how you felt about some of the different issues and share your most fabulous statement accessory that you can't wait to rock, because, you know, being fabulous and extra is super in style right now. Okay, guys, we'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, everyone. It's Val Trenda from The Val Trenda Show, your headquarters for melanated mental health. And you are watching The Fab Lab. Catch me right after, right at noon on the Mocha Media Network.
Hello, Fab Fashionistas. It is your style besties here with our industry insider interview today. And we have the fabulous, the wonderful, the talented Shireen Pimentel. I'm going to give you just a short rundown on a very long list of things that she has coming up. We're going to start with Into the Woods. She's playing Rapunzel at the New York City Center opposite Sarah Bareilles. No big deal. It's fine. I'm not fangirling over here, living my 18-year-old dreams. Love it. She's also got American Songbook coming up and also singing with the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra. And we are so incredibly grateful that you are here with us on the Fab Lab, where we are all about fashion and the art of beauty. Thank you for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Well, Shireen, tell us about what you have going on.
Yeah, so I'll be doing Into the Woods at New York City Center, which I'm very excited about. I got to play Rapunzel my junior year in college. So to revisit that with such a really great cast, Sarah Bareilles, Heather Headley, Ashley Park, some really, really amazing performers. And then actually before that, we're going in backwards. We're going to go backwards in the order of how I'm doing them. Right before that, I'm going to be doing a Lincoln Center American Songbook concert with a phenomenal Latinx composer, brand new composer. So I'm really excited to be able to be a part of that. And the specific performance is actually like a pay what you can. So it is very accessible to people to be able to just come and enjoy the music and enjoy theater. And then before that, which is actually, I'm heading out there next week. I'm going to Indianapolis to sing with the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra, which will be another really fun project. I love singing, so to me, all my projects are fun. And that's some of what I've got going on. And there's quite a bit going on. I'm very, very busy right now.
Busy and blessed, sis. Like
Yeah.
I'm so about it, and I'm so excited for you. You formerly were in West Side Story. I mean, girlfriend, you have done everything from the red carpet in Christian Siriano to the Broadway stage. Like, you are bringing it in all of the spaces. Tell us a little bit about, though, your development as an artist. Like, what is that like? Really kind of having to keep yourself workshopped, and right before this, your setup that you're in now is for a self-tape that you just turned. Like, what is that like for folks who want to know more about what it takes to even be that star on the red carpet?
Yeah, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of, mostly dedication is something I would say, like, you really have to have. You have to love what you do. I think it's almost impossible to do this if you don't enjoy it. And it's because there's a lot of early mornings and a lot of late nights. And as you said, like, I have this whole self-tape setup that I have gotten within a few years of like putting together the proper self-tape setup. And like, I've got my ring light here, but then I also have these like crazy, like very professional lights around me. And then I have these big speakers and all this kind of stuff. And like, it takes a lot of dedication to like search for that stuff and put it all together. And then you also have to take your voice lessons and your dance lessons and your acting classes, and you have to keep taking them, even though like I did a West Side Story, like that didn't stop me taking voice lessons. I still take them very often. And I don't think I'll ever stop. You have to stay kind of tapped in to learning and like growing all the time, or else you get left behind. You get stuck back where you were before because you didn't grow. So yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is like, it takes a lot of dedication. I love sleep. Don't get me wrong. I've lost quite a lot of it in the past few years. And then I get it back every so often when I take some vacation. But like that's my thing, is like, I have to look at the balance of like, I sometimes have to sacrifice an hour of sleep so that I can be able to do some of the other things that I'm doing. But I like it. So yeah.
I think a lot of people who have dreamed on being in Broadway or dreamed, you know, of pursuing their craft, shall we say, are terrified to put themselves in the position to give themselves over to the art form, because whatever you do as an artist, you really have to give yourself to it. What was your decision maker? You know, what was it that made you go like, I'm just going to do this thing?
I think that for me, that would be hard only because like I made that decision when I was really young and I didn't have any like reason why. Like when I was really small, my parents just put me in dance class. And so all I'd ever known was like doing performances and like being a performer in some capacity. And then when I learned that I could sing, I ended up wanting to do that instead, and it just switched. But I never wanted to be anything else. Like I never had the thought process of doing something else. But as I've gotten older, the thing that I think has like kept me going is that love. Like I don't think I would keep going if I stopped liking what I was doing, because it's very hard. Like I do like give of myself in a lot of capacities. Like you have social media, everybody wants to talk, and a lot of people want to know what's going on in like your very personal life. They like want to know, like they want to find out. And also like I've gone to the theater before and had people like recognize me or like take pictures of me. That feels very like very uncomfortable. But I like being a performer. And so I knew that like there is a balance and a sacrifice of what you're going to give and what you can keep. And I think also as I keep going every single year, I've learned quite a bit and learned how to keep what I want to keep and what I'm willing to give over to other people. But I think the thing that sustained me through the whole thing is loving what I do.
I love that. You definitely have to. Liz and I talk all the time about accessibility, and what you're willing to let people access of you is really important, and it's so important to your mental health. So hearing you say that is it's a really great thing for people to keep in mind as they elevate, no matter what field they're in, whether it's fashion, whether it's in music, whether it's any area. I think one of my biggest questions, and I feel like I know the answer to it, but the people out there probably don't know the answer to it. I don't know if you knew this about me, but I was a music teacher for 13 years. What would be, because I feel like one thing that a lot of educators don't talk about, and a lot of people who are in the business talk about later, is the steps that it took when they were in school. Like if you want to be on Broadway, what steps should you be taking to make sure that you're ready or have the opportunity to be ready when it comes time?
Yeah. That's like a huge thing. No one talks about that. You're 100% right. Like no one talks about these things. And I think it's really important actually. The things I did, at least, I did a lot of personal learning. I would love if every single arts program, no matter if it's like fashion arts, visual arts, like anything, music, sat down and did like real business class. 99% of the time they don't. And so I think the thing that I learned later on in life was like the business, and that it is lovely to be an artist. I love being an artist, but I'm also a human being who needs to put food on the table and needs to have a roof over her head. And so like I learned a lot late. I felt like I was playing catch up while I was in West Side of trying to learn different business tactics with like taxes. It's very hard to be an artist and to like file your taxes. And I was like 20 trying to figure out what I was doing with like a lot of money, like a very large sum of money. And I was like, what does one do with this? Like, and also, how do I optimize it for it to make sense when this job is gone? Because one of the biggest things as an artist is like, it is very fickle, and like, you don't know when things will end and then when your next full-time job will be. And so that was one part. And I think the next part, especially for artists, and especially if you want to do theater and be on Broadway, start to try to learn like the audition process. Doesn't mean you have to be at every audition and taking every single audition, but like, try to learn what things mean. Try to learn what the union means, what an EPA and an ECC, what an open call. Try to learn, like, there's a whole thing about like, before COVID, this was a thing. Now it's all self tapes. And if we ever go back, I have no idea. But there was a thing where you would like line up outside of the building that you were auditioning at. And you had to know like what buildings were willing to let you in before the time that they opened. And so you knew if you needed to dress in like 40 layers of clothing, if you were like really gung-ho on this audition, if you had to stand outside till 8 a.m. and if a whole bunch of other people were gung-ho, you were going at 6 a.m., putting on 40 layers of clothing in 30-degree weather and standing outside. Or there would be some buildings that they're open and they've got a coffee bar and you could just stroll on in, just hanging out. But like, I think one of the benefits I had of being in New York City when I was in college was I went to those auditions and I scoped out what that meant and what that was going to be for me once I graduated from school. So I didn't feel like I was trying to learn while also trying to make money to survive, and also trying to, you know, I was in school, which is basically like a full-time job. So I was able to sustain and also like try out all these different things. And that would probably be the last thing, is like, just try stuff, try some new stuff. You kind of, it, in a way, you have to be very prepared. And so the technical parts of being an artist are important to have. But then after that, you really have to throw things at the wall and something's going to stick. It will. But if you only throw one thing at the wall a month, that one thing that's going to stick is going to be far down the road. It might be that first one. You might be God's favorite, okay? And he might be shining down on you at that time, but he might not be, and your season might not be now. So it's better for you to throw a whole bunch of things at the wall and learn what's right for you, and also see that like sometimes things you don't think are right for you are very right for you. And you can start walking down that path as well.
I think you're so right about every single one of those pieces. And, you know, the truest thing that I think the three of us have talked about at different times in different ways is that, you know, we really grow in our discomfort zone. We don't really grow, especially as artists, in whatever form of art you do or work at. And as people, you only grow in your discomfort zone. So I think you are right on the money, because I think the biggest thing that people are afraid to do is to get into a discomfort zone where they're worried that there's going to be questions about, you know, what comes next. And I think that's so beneficial. That information that you gave is so beneficial for people who may have forgotten they have a dream, but also for, you know, younger kids who are coming up that want to pursue that Broadway narrative that they have in their heads, or, you know, even becoming, you know, a singer. Our final question for you, my darling friend, is what role do you feel fashion plays in the industry and what you do?
Yeah, it plays a huge role, right? So like when you go and see the Grammys, like we do the red carpet part first, right? When you see the Oscars, you do the exact same thing. Like that, that's a huge part of all of the things. I can't just roll up to the Tonys like in sweatpants and a sweatshirt and be like, hey, what's up? I'm just sitting in the back. I'm not nominated. I just get to hang out. So I didn't get dressed up for this today. Thanks for the invite. You don't get to do that. That's like not a possibility, literally ever. So it takes a really big role in your life, and it takes as big of a role as you want it to. Let's say that. I like fashion. I enjoy fashion. So when I talk to my team, I get to be like, hey guys, I want to do I want to be in the fashion part of the New York Post, or I want, that's what I want to be in these magazines. I want to be with these designers, and we can make that happen because of the position that you're in. When you do a Broadway show, people want to dress you for an opening night. When you are going to a movie premiere, it's the same thing. So it plays a really, really big part as when you're an artist. Fashion and being an artist kind of go hand in hand. In my particular life, as you said, yes, I have walked down the red carpet in Christian Siriano, which is like wild. I've walked down the red carpet in Gucci. I've been like, ooh, like as a kid, like I dreamed of those things. And like I have a Vogue magazine in my house that has like an article about me and like a photo from West Side Story and like a few different magazines. There have been a few different things that come up that I'm like, as a small child, like I idolized and just loved those things. And now to see myself in them and to see myself at these events with these people is like mind blowing. I think now I've gotten used to some of them and not all of them, which is good. I don't think that you should get like complacent about those things, because again, they can go away in like a snap. Like you could be in Vogue 1 month and then not the other, and that's totally okay, because life changes and seasons change. But I still get excited about those things. So yeah, it plays a huge part. I literally had a stylist the other day send me a message and be like, hey, are you ready to start thinking about like, what are you wearing to the opening of Into the Woods? Like, hey, what's going on? Like it's clothes. Like I live in fashion at this point, which is really fun. It's like, it's fulfilled two huge dreams of mine, which is to be an artist full time. And then to also kind of like spend my life dealing with fashion and clothing and trends and all those different kinds of stuff. Like it's great. But yeah, it plays like, it's probably like half my job at this point.
That's so amazing. And I can see why those two things would be a huge bucket list checkoffs for you. I feel like you are mimicking anything that I ever wanted to do in my entire life as well. So kudos to you. And we are so proud of you. We're so proud of the growth that you've had in really just a short time. I mean, I met you at Miss New York. Mm-hmm. How long was that? 5 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah. I think 5, 6. Yeah.
So just in that period of time, the amount of growth that you've experienced is inspiring to watch. And I know Liz and I are so proud of you. And we want to thank you for coming on and being a part of our show, because we know you are incredibly busy and we value your time. Tell the folks where they can find you on social media.
Oh yeah. This is, again, what do you want to give to people? Instagram, find me on Instagram. That's my place. And it's just Shireen Pimentel. You can just easily find me there and see what I'm up to on a day-to-day basis.
Guys, go and check her out. She is the greatest and hottest thing on Broadway right now. You don't want to miss out. Thank you for joining us here on the Fab Lab, where we want you to look, feel, and stay fabulous, all while talking about fashion and the art of beauty. Stay tuned for what's coming up next. Hi, Fab Fashionistas. It is Stephanie J., fashion blogger, stylist, and one of your style besties. And today we are talking about some boss babe influencers that you should be following on Instagram right now, with number 1, Abby Silverman, who is the digital creative director at Cosmopolitan. Now, if that didn't speak for itself, she has fab style. Obviously, she works for Cosmo. I found her on TikTok, and then from there, I found her on Instagram, and now it's a huge love affair. So if you're looking to infuse some bright pieces into your wardrobe, she definitely offers that inspiration. Head over to Instagram and follow her at abby.silverman on Instagram. Number 2, we have Ayumi Perry. Now, this is someone that I follow out of Philadelphia. She is an author, a stylist, a fashion sculptor, a creative director, an artist, a singer. She's doing the thing. Which brings us to number 3. We've got Caroline Vasana. Now, she is an author, a fashion editor, and a stylist. Again, someone, if you're looking for some inspiration to infuse into your wardrobe with bright colors and just that permission to be yourself, Caroline is where it's at. And last but certainly not least, we have Ellie Delphine. She is, wears the hottest trends. She is a red carpet reviewer. Love it. I love watching her Instagram stories because she always puts the best stuff out there when there's a red carpet to review. You could see her on the streets at Paris Fashion Week wearing the newest and best. I'm a little jealous, not gonna lie, but she's fabulous. And we can follow her on Instagram at Slip Into Style. It's Women's History Month and we just celebrated International Women's Day. So we want to celebrate boss babe women in fashion who are just doing it, who are doing it up big and are just pushing that next level. We applaud you. We appreciate you here on the Fab Lab, where we are all about fashion and the art of beauty.
Hello, Fab Lab fashionistas. I'm Liz Everett, your style and beauty guru, award-winning image strategist, and this week, I'm teaching you how to dress like a fierce and phenomenal boss babe. Guys, you know it's all about having a little bit more fun, and as it is Women's History Month and we just finished International Women's Day, I am all about encouraging you to not just elevate your style game, but have more fun getting dressed every day. Listen, we're not getting any younger and we can always get a little bit more fabulous and fierce. All right, let's get into it. All right, tip number 1 is wearing a phenomenal statement necklace, pair of statement earrings, or a beautiful statement pearl set like this one. Now, all 3 pieces that you're going to see in this segment are from Shop Akira, one of my favorite boss babe stores that I shop at all the time and also style my clients out of. So that's an insider tip. Number 2, amp up your sunnies game. Yeah, just have some fun with it. Make sure you get something that has a couple of rhinestones on it or some pearls on it, some, phenomenal embellishments that will make you feel like you're just living your best life every day. And you can crank up the volume on your favorite song while you're driving and rocking your gorgeous sunnies. And finally, of course, you can get a little designer decadent bag like this cupcake bag. It's a lot of fun and it'll bring some light and life to every single outfit. Now, you may also think about getting pieces that may represent your brand or your niche. So for instance, like if you're in banking and you want to get like a rhinestone dollar bill clutch, right, to take to a networking event, just something that will catch the eye. It's a great way to network as well. We want you to look, feel, and stay fabulous every single day of your life because you're making life your runway. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back right after this.
Hi, Fab Fashionistas. We are into Rocket or Racket. So let's get into it. Today we are talking about Women's History Month and International Women's Day. So Liz and I thought that what better way to celebrate that than to talk about some power suit moments or power suiting moment. Number 1, we have Priyanka Chopra and Sergio Hudson. He's one of our faves. Is this a rocket or racket for you, Liz?
Honey, anything Sergio Hudson is a rocket for me in all colors.
It's a rocket for me. What I really love about this suit in particular is the placement of the belt, which is going to give anyone a waist. It's going to be flattering on pretty much everyone. And the color's divine. I mean, you can't get much more powerful than a red suit. So rocket for me in that color and all the other ones as well. Then number 2, we've got Elle Fanning in Gucci at the SAG Awards. Rocket or rocket?
How is it fair? Is it even fair to look like this? Like, and how is she so grown up? I'm so confused. Oh my gosh. It's a rocket for me. I love suiting though. And I love well-tailored suiting. I'm not a fan of a baggy fit because I really like the way that it builds a woman's structure and silhouette. And I love this on her. I think it's stunning and it would be a definite rocket for me.
It is a rocket for me. Like, next we have the camel Eloquy suit in camel faux leather. Is it a rocket or racket for you?
Absolute rocket, because I know my head did like this and I said absolute rocket. But yes, it is absolute rocket for me. Eloquy is someplace that I find probably most of my clothing at certain points of the year comes from Eloquy because again, the tailoring is so great and they really make easy, fun, fabulous pieces for curvy girls. So it's a rocket, but I need that in red.
It's a rocket for me, but you see the color that Liz is wearing, that teal, that turquoise. I'm going to need it in that color because, it's on brand for me, but also it looks really good with my eyes. Next, we talked about it earlier, Valentino's pink PP collection. And then Zendaya is wearing a suit from the collection. Is it a rocket or a racket for you?
Rocket. Absolutely. Again, I love suiting. I love dramatic suiting. One thing you can always guarantee about Zendaya is that La Roche, who is her stylist, they've come up with a storyline. They've given thought to the silhouette. They've given thought to the way her left pinky toe is going to lay. And so, it's always a look. So this and everything in the Valentino show, rocket for me.
So it's a rocket for me. And then last but not least, we have a cream suit by 11 Honore. Rocket, racket.
This looks linen-y to me. And I'm not a linen suit person. I like them on other people, but linen is a little itchy on me, which is why I kind of only like a linen short or a linen skirt, not the whole thing. And then even at that, I only want to wear it for a photo. I'm not really trying to sweat through my clothes. This is making me nervous looking at it because I don't know about you, but I have back sweat during the summer and I would be mortified if I went to a picnic and got up and they were like, oh, wow, nice back silhouette. So it's a racket for me. Yeah.
So I love the silhouette of the suit. But if I'm wearing that color, you're not going to see me. I'm just going to blend in with this color. So I'm gonna need it in a different color. But I like the suit itself. So it would be like a half rocket, I guess. Maybe that just means I get the jacket and not the pants.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Well, I could do that too, over a black dress or a pink dress.
Because we're all about a jacket. It might not be the pants for us.
Outerwear is the thing for us.
It literally, if you saw the bag of jackets in my car, it's absolutely ridiculous. Anyways, we want to thank you guys. Which one was your favorite? Which one would you rock? Which one would you rack? Let us know in the comments below. Did you like the Valentino? Did you like the Gucci? Is it not your thing? We want to hear from you. And we also want to thank you for joining us on a Saturday. Thank you for taking your time out to spend with us. We also want to thank our Fab Lab analysts for joining us and our industry insider interview. We wouldn't have a show without any of those folks. So we are incredibly grateful to each and every one of them.
That's right. And you guys, make sure to head over to Instagram right now and follow us at the THEE Fab Lab. We can't wait to connect with you, and you'll find out a lot about shows coming up and about different community events.
That's right. because this is the Fab Lab, where we are all about fashion and the art of beauty.